worst noodler ever.
Everybody knows that guy. Andy Timmons here for Ibanez, and
Yes.
that's so funny because I know that tone from so many records. It's so awesome to sit here, to have it right on my ears here, and to have your like. It sounds exactly like on the record.
Wow, thank you.
That's spooky because you're real.
Oh, man.
You're real.
You're real too.
Yeah, we're real. Yeah. Okay, so you have a new guitar, man.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
When
about this.
you're normally you play the AT model.
Right.
Yeah.
So this
but-
this has been in the works for a while. Those that pay attention to the Ibanez guitars have known they've got a line of the guitar called the AZ that's been out for a while.
Yeah, it's a new series.
A series, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's some signature versions with Tom Quayle and Martin Miller. Some beautiful guitars. And we've been in talks for a while of maybe doing a version of my original AT100, but kind of in the AZ style, right? So it gave me the opportunity to tweak a couple things that I might like if I needed another type of AT guitar.
Yeah.
Okay. So starting with, this always starts with the neck for me. Anybody that's picked
The
up,
neck is not too thin, is it?
it's not too thin. It's
Yeah.
it's a hair fatter than my profile, but it's basically in that design. It's just slightly wider, so you don't get the string coming off the edge of the fretboard. But in the roasted maple, it's just got a beautiful vintage. It feels like it's a neck that's 40 years old already.
Yeah.
You know, which is almost as old as me. You know, I'm 55 now, by the way. Old man alert. So, but it's got this beautiful neck. The jumbo, it's stainless steel frets was the first time I've tried those. I know, interesting, right? But I'm really liking them. I was trepidatious, thinking it might change the tone too much. But I'm working with those for right now, and it's also the first time we've done an Ibanez guitar, I think since the 70s, that's had 3 single coil spaced.
Yeah, sure.
Even though they're the cruisers, they're the actual kind of humbucking, noiseless kind of, but
But in fact, you have 3 humbuckers there. Like
Yeah,
like it's 3 on the Les Paul.
That's right. Yeah, it's like play some Kiss for you later.
That's it.
But they do sound very authentic as far as the single coil kind of sound. So, but I can also get very fat kind of lead tone stuff like So it's just a really cool kind of variety of tone that I get variety from my other guitar, but this kind of broadens the palette, so to speak. And the other guitars, I have a different type of tremolo. So we went with the Wilkinson that I normally use.
Yeah.
So that adds a little bit to the beefiness of the tone. And I just dig the finish too. We've gone with like a classic 50s kind of a matte finish,
Yeah.
as far as it not just kind of vintagey that way. This, by the time it gets released, I think this will be a little slightly more faded than such a stark line, but it'll look more like the burst on my other guitar. But man, I'm so happy with it. It's just it's a nice addition to the arsenal. So this
So roasted maple, so it smells like roasted maple.
smells like something's burning, folks. Uh-oh, they left it in too long. Crap. Oh well.
Okay,
Well,
so let's hear it,
I like
man.
mine
Let's hear it.
My well done, please. Yeah.
Let's hear some more.
Okay, sure. We got the nice and shiny.
So you still play the XL Jazz 3 Plectrum here?
Yes,
Pick?
it's the,
no,
the Jim Dunlop. Let's see. Whoa, hello.
okay, so it's a smaller one now.
Yeah, it's the Tortex.
You used to play the
I had the XL. That's
The
right.
XL,
About the time
yeah.
that we would have met, I had the nylon.
red one or black one.
It was the red one, Jazz 3s, but the XLs that they made for Buckethead.
Yeah.
Because they were a little larger. And the tone was great, but I kept coming back to these. They're smaller and they're not the best sounding pick, but I have so much control with it. It's the thing you go through.
Pretty much like the original Jazz 3.
It's exactly
Yeah,
that. I've been using these since 1984.
Yeah.
Might have been right when about they came out. But I was teaching at a music store in Sunnyland, Florida, actually. And the sales guy thought, you should try these picks. Okay. And then I've been using them ever since, and I got very addicted to them.
One of your favorite players is playing those Eric Johnson.
Yeah, well, he uses
same picks here.
but he uses the nylon version.
Yeah, the red ones,
The red
yeah.
one, yeah. So of course, anything that Eric does, please tell me, Eric, how do you get that sound? Yeah, I kept telling him he should write a book. Just write a book and tell us all. But it's also there's so much value.
He did 2 videos.
He did 2 videos, yeah, but he didn't tell about which direction the cables and all.
No.
Yeah. But there's so much. I mean, obviously there's lots
But
of.
you can hear the direction of the battery.
Yeah, no, but at least the different types of batteries. Once you go down that path, because all this people kind of chuckle at Eric's, concentration on these things, but it's all true. It really does. It makes a difference and it adds up. But you can't spend too much time worrying about it. You do have to play at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you gotta spend the time really searching for it yourself, right?
But sure. But he's spending that time for looking for the tone, but he can play also. I mean,
He can absolutely
can play.
Oh,
Yeah.
Of course he can, of course. And the results are there. That's like when you talk about the Resolution record.
Yeah.
He was what we were reaching for. When Mike Dane and I were going for the guitar tones, he set the benchmark. We didn't want to sound like Eric, but we just thought the integrity of the tone.
Yeah.
The work that he did, trying to figure out the best way to do it. What is the best way to do it?
Yeah.
And so we learned a lot. Of course we know Eric and we're friendly, but and you hear all the different stories of, like there was the one day where I went to an Alien Love Child gig, which was his band in the early 2000s, and his tube driver was sitting up on a wooden platform off of his pedal board, and we're like, oh my gosh, Eric, what now? So we talked to his tech, and he was saying that one day Eric was playing, and he picked up his pedal to straighten a cable. He goes, what did you do? Because he picked up the pedal off the ground. What did you do? We'll keep it there. So they built the platform. Now it sounds crazy, but
Because it sounded different.
it sounded way different.
Wait.
Now, I on the Resolution record, you may know that I used a similar pedal, but I used the 3-knob tube driver, Tube Works.
Yeah.
But it's the same type of thing where it's got a 12AX7 tube in it. And so one day, Mike and I were working in the studio, and we had the pedal, no guitar connected to it, but the output was still connected to the amp. And there was some loud music in the room, and we were hearing what was happening through the amp. So what's happening? It's a microphonic tube on the floor.
Uh-huh.
It was picking up all the sound. We went,
Uh-huh.
give me some plywood.
Now we have it. Yeah.
We set it up on 2 pieces of plywood. It changed it. It cleaned up the low end. It was like, okay, Eric,
You're right.
But it was the thing where sometimes you have to discover it for yourself. You can chuckle about it, but well, try it and just see. So in that instance, it made total sense because that tube is picking up the vibration, and if it's on a stage that's rumbling.
So it's all about being inspired by the tone.
Well, it's all about
It's everything.
Oh,
It's everything. Yeah.
And, on a night where your mind is good and the sound is good, magic can happen. And some nights there's issues, and okay, but you still try to do the best you can do. But it's nice when all those things kind of line up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you can really let go.
Okay, but a very, very, very important thing,
Yes.
thing is the guitar, of course. So
Yes,
we have
of
the
course.
pedals, we have the amp, we have the plectrum or the pick,
We have the
and we
pick.
have the guitar. Yeah. Yeah.
And then all you got to do is play a lot. That way, that's where the tone really comes from. I mean, all these things help a lot, but we got to spend the time on the instrument. That's where.
So what's your advice for young musicians? Huh?
Exactly that.
Play a lot.
I mean,
Play a lot.
You have to
yeah.
play a lot. I mean, the thing is to keep it fun. I was fortunate just when I was young. I guess I wasn't worried about taking lessons and stuff. I did it all the time because I couldn't wait to play. And if you can maintain that interest in that just that passion for it, that's what makes the difference. It makes you want to spend the time. But balance your time with, learn. I mean, I watch all the videos. I love seeing all the instructional stuff or new YouTube stuff. But make sure you spend time away from the screen and make it a listening exercise too. Try to learn some things just by listening. Because it's when we make that relationship between what we're hearing and the fretboard, that's when things really become connected and you start to really grow as a player, to not only recognize what's going on the guitar, but also to pay attention to what's going on around you. It's like living and communicating. You can't just, and there's people that don't. People that maybe only talk and listen to themselves, right? You have to consider the other musicians.
Yeah.
How do you fit into the conversation?
Making music together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's the danger of only playing in the bedroom.
Yeah.
That is something that is getting lost maybe. So learn that way, but get together with your friends, play, feel what it feels like to play in a room with a drummer and a bass player. There's nothing like it. The energy of band live music, backing tracks are fun, and I'll do that tonight. and I can put lots of energy into it. When you have your band, that's when it's really happening. You know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me some goosebumps.
Some goosebumps.
Yeah.
What can I do? Let's see here. I don't know what goosebump music would be, but well, here's a tune I wrote not too long ago. But,